A single phone call shattered the silence of Dubai's most guarded palace. On the line, a servant's trembling voice, a body in a locked room, and a secret so explosive it threatened to burn down a royal dynasty. This wasn't just a death, it was a reckoning, because the man lying cold on the marble floor wasn't just any billionaire. He was a sheikh who had dared to love the one woman he could never have, his own brother's wife. Their affair began where most sins do, in the shadows. Private decks at midnight, texts deleted before dawn, gifts passed through trusted hands. For months, they danced on the edge of disaster, believing their wealth and power could outrun the rules. But in a city built on ancient codes, no amount of money can buy forgiveness. The higher you climb, the harder the fall. And when their secret finally slipped, it didn't just ruin lives, it ended one. She was supposed to be invisible, another beautiful wife in a golden cage, but Layla refused to disappear. Even as the rumors spread, even as her husband's fists found her skin, she held on to the one thing they couldn't take: the truth. The sheikh had loved her, really loved her. And in a world where love is weakness, that made them both targets. Now the palace walls are silent. The gossip has been buried under layers of money and threats. But if you listen closely, you can still hear the echoes of a man who gambled everything for passion and a woman who paid the price. This isn't just a story about scandal. It's about what happens when desire crashes into duty and who gets left broken in the wreckage. The first touch was electric. Sheikh Khalid's fingers brushing against Layla's wrist as he passed her a cup of Arabic coffee. A moment so brief anyone else might have missed it. But in the royal court of Dubai, where every glance is watched and every whisper dissected, nothing escapes notice. The air between them crackled with danger, a silent challenge that set the game in motion. Khalid, the playboy prince with a taste for rebellion, had found his match in Layla, his brother's wife, a woman bound by duty but starving for something real. Their meeting started as accidents, lingering too long in the palace library, getting lost on the way to prayer. But soon the excuses grew thinner. A stolen kiss behind a tapestry, a love note tucked into the folds of her abaya. The thrill of deception was intoxicating, a drug neither could quit. Khalid, used to getting whatever he wanted, saw Layla as his greatest conquest. Layla, trapped in a loveless marriage, saw him as her only escape. But in a world where honor is everything, their secret was a lit fuse, and the explosion would destroy them both. The staff knew first, of course. They always do. A maid spotting Layla's lipstick on Khalid's collar. A guard noticing the sheikh slipping into the family wing at odd hours. The rumors spread like smoke, impossible to contain. Khalid's arrogance blinded him. He thought his power made him untouchable. Layla, though, felt the walls closing in. Every sideways glance from her husband, every sudden silence when she entered a room, screamed the truth. Their time was running out. The first cracks appeared in the smallest ways. A letter reduced to ash. A phone call cut short. The weight of their choices pressed down until even stolen moments tasted like guilt. Khalid, ever reckless, pushed further, booking private suites under fake names, gifting her jewels that matched his wife's. But Layla? She was starting to understand the cost. In Dubai, love isn't just forbidden, it's a death sentence. And the executioner was already sharpening his blade. The first warning came unsigned, a single sheet of paper bearing 3 damning words. I know everything. Layla's hands shook as she burned it in her bathroom sink, the flames reflecting in her wide, terrified eyes. Across the palace, Khalid dismissed the threat with a laugh and another glass of whiskey, but his knuckles whitened around the crystal tumbler. The servants began disappearing. A chauffeur transferred, a maid suddenly retiring to her village. The walls Khalid had always owned were now closing in on him, and for the first time, the untouchable Sheikh felt the chill of fear crawl up his spine. One day, Layla's husband examining her phone in the dead of night, suspicion turned to certainty when her husband found the deleted texts, fragments of poetry and meeting times that told a story more damning than any confession. His rage was quiet, methodical. Where Khalid burned hot, his brother plotted cold. Security footage was reviewed, credit card statements analyzed, servants interrogated. The palace became a chessboard, and Layla realized too late she was just a pawn between two ruthless players. Khalid's arrogance blinded him to the danger, still believing his birthright made him invincible, even as the noose tightened. The once familiar corridors now felt like a minefield. Every averted gaze, every suddenly quiet conversation carried unspoken accusations. Layla's luxurious prison became unbearable. The silk sheets, the gold-plated fixtures, the constant surveillance, all reminders of her gilded cage. Khalid, meanwhile, doubled down on recklessness, booking adjoining suites in Abu Dhabi hotels under fake names, as if daring the world to catch them. But in Dubai, scandal isn't a matter of if, but when. The hotel manager, loyal to the crown, made sure the right people knew about room 438. The explosion came at Friday dinner. A casual mention of Layla's new perfume, Khalid's favorite, was the spark. Plates flew. Accusations roared through the grand hall, and in one unthinkable moment, Khalid raised a hand to his own brother. The servants froze. The royal facade cracked, and in that instant, everyone present understood. This wasn't just an affair. This was a war that would leave no survivors. The rules of their world were clear. Honor must be restored, no matter the cost, and the price would be paid in blood. The first touch was electric. A brush of fingers during Eid celebrations that lasted a heartbeat too long. Sheikh Khalid, the royal rebel, made sure his brother's wife, Layla, felt the heat through her abaya. Their game began innocently. Lost prayer beads left near her seat, verses of love poetry slipped into her purse. But in Dubai, where every glance is monitored, their coded flirtation was a ticking bomb. By the third family banquet, Khalid's wives were exchanging glances. The servants, they'd already started placing bets on when, not if, the explosion would come. The palace corridors hummed with whispers before dawn. Servants scrubbed the dinner's evidence, wine stains from silk carpets, a shattered iPhone screen. But the truth couldn't be bleached away. Khalid's brother exiled Layla to their coastal villa, posting guards who reported her every breath to the family group chat. Meanwhile, the Sheikh's advisors staged an intervention. Deny it publicly, or the crown prince will strip your titles. Khalid laughed through the threat, swigging whiskey from a crystal decanter. Let them try, he slurred, tossing a Rolex at his head of security. Burn every surveillance tape from the yacht. But in Dubai, fire doesn't destroy evidence, it just creates more smoke. By noon, 3 maids had resigned. By dusk, Layla's husband held a USB drive containing footage of room 438. Isolation turned lethal. Confined to marble floors with only a burner phone Khalid smuggled in via a bribed guard, Layla oscillated between rage and despair. Their coded texts, months until the Hajj pilgrimage, meet me in Mecca, were desperate gambits. Meanwhile, her husband played the long game, leaking rumors to cousins in Abu Dhabi's court. The Sheikh defiles our bloodline. The crown prince summoned Khalid for tea, a euphemism for an execution of reputation. That night, Khalid's Instagram vanished. His foundation's board accepted his resignation. Even his favorite falcon was reassigned. The message was clear. No one humiliates the family and keeps their wings. The Sheikh's final night played out like a bad opera. He drunkenly FaceTimed Layla from VIP, screaming, "I'll burn his palace down." As bodyguards exchanged glances, the call disconnected abruptly. Her husband had smashed the burner phone against their villa's gates. At sunrise, Khalid's confidant found him weeping in a gold-plated elevator, muttering about poison and pistols. "Get me out of the country," he demanded, "but private jets require royal approval." By lunch, his passports were voided. By evening, news broke that Layla's husband had filed for divorce, the legal document accusing her of moral crimes in bold Arabic script. That's when Khalid's Instagram reappeared with a single post, a black square. In the Gulf, that only means one thing. They found him in a room facing east, as tradition demands for prayer. No note, no dramatic staging, just a man who'd chosen the one exit even royals can't lock. The official statement cited sudden illness, but mourners at the mosque knew better. Layla, now exiled to her father's compound in Riyadh, wasn't allowed at the funeral. Her husband divorced her by mail. The Crown Prince donated Khalid's favorite sports cars to orphans, a PR masterstroke. And Dubai, it moved on before the body was cold. Because in a city built on mirages, the fastest way to disappear is to make yourself real. The erasure was surgical. Within weeks, Khalid's portraits vanished from royal galleries, his charity's website scrubbed clean. Even his favorite stallion at the Dubai Polo Club quietly sold to a Russian oligarch. The family issued a terse statement about private tragedy, while clerks at the courthouse backdated documents to remove Layla's name from all marriage records, as if she'd never existed. Only the servants kept the truth alive, whispering about the Sheikh's last night as they polished silver that would never bear his monogram again. Meanwhile, Layla's father negotiated her exile to a Swiss boarding school turned gilded cage, where veiled minders monitored her daily walks. The punishment wasn't just for loving, it was for making the family feel their powerlessness. Her days blurred into prayer and sedatives, the view of mountain peaks a cruel joke about freedom. The Sheikh's confidant visited once, slipping her a folded note that simply read, "He asked for you at the end." She burned it in an ashtray, but the words seared deeper than flame. Back in Dubai, Khalid's brother remarried swiftly, a 19-year-old cousin from Abu Dhabi, her smile brittle for the cameras. The wedding photos were telling. Where Khalid once stood beside his siblings, now there was only carefully arranged foliage. The message was clear. Honor is restored by replacement, not repentance. Even the desert seemed to comply, burying Khalid's favorite off-road tracks under fresh dunes within months. Time rewrote everything. The scandal became a cautionary tale told in elite circles, always vague, never naming names. Tourists now sipped lattes where Khalid and Layla once exchanged glances, oblivious to the blood under the fresh marble. His sons inherited his fortune but disowned his memory, while Layla, finally released from exile, surfaced in London under a new identity. The sole relic of their catastrophe, a single, uncensored text Khalid sent before his death. "If they take my name, keep it in your mouth." She never replied. Some silences are louder than gunshots. The water still flows. The call still rings out. And in the gold markets, merchants still haggle over the same pearls that once adorned Layla's throat. The city outlives all its sinners. Because Dubai's true power isn't in its towers or laws, it's in the way the sand swallows footsteps whole, leaving no trace of who walked there or why they fell. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell for more shocking true crime stories from our channel, True Crime Family Stories.